John Hanlon is with us with the LG G3, the new phone from LG, who has been kind of quiet on the phone market over the past couple of years. But this seems like it's a top contender, man. Tell us about it.
Yeah, definitely great to be back here, Casey. LG is not usually the top of mind when you think of smartphones, but they got a really great one here. It's the LG G3, massive 5.5-inch screen, which you're seeing a lot of the Android phones go. The screen is always getting larger. For comparison, that's the iPhone is about 4 inches, so this is very large compared to that.
It's a lot bigger. It almost kind of looks similar in size to the original Note.
Yeah, it is.
It's pretty close.
I think it might be the same size, actually, as the original Note. It's either the same size or slightly larger than the original Samsung Galaxy Note, which was seen when it first came out as just gigantic.
Right.
So 5.5 inches, and it's actually, the screen is one of the big selling factors here because it's what's called QHD, and that just refers to the resolution. So it's 4 times the resolution of 720p HD. So that just means a clearer picture. You're going to get, this is absolutely the best resolution screen you're going to get on the market right now for smartphones.
So it's almost like LG took their television technology and kind of put it into a phone.
I'm sure they're going for a little bit there, and it's just another selling point, another point that, hey, we're better than everybody else with this.
Okay.
Now, as always, when you get into such a small device, you're not talking about a 100-inch TV, you're talking about a 5.5-inch phone here. So resolution, it matters, but I think it tops out, and there's a point where other things like brightness and saturation come into play also. And that's what we've seen all along with the iPhone and what they call their display, and they say that it's as high as resolution as you're going to get that the eye can notice between different devices. So yes, the resolution is higher here, but that may not be as big of a deal as you might originally think because other things come into play also, like brightness. The LG G3 is not as bright as the Samsung Galaxy S5 or the HTC One M8, which are basically the two other top Android phones in the market. I brought both of those in here before to review.
Great phones.
Yes, they're really good. Also, so the resolution is great, and if that's something you really care about, then obviously this is something you'll want to look at closely. One thing that the G3 here has that no other phone has, and it's not necessarily a feature, it's just kind of a unique thing, is that the power button and volume rocker, volume up and down, are both on the back of the phone. So there are no buttons on the edges at all, which is really nice if you're taking a photo or whatever and you're worried about bumping those edges. But it's a feature that I am not a huge fan of. I think it's easier for your thumb on the side of the phone or on the top of the phone. Really, I think the side of the phone is probably the best place to have the power button, which is what most of the other phones have. The iPhone, I think, is still on the top, and most Android phones are going to the power button on the side. But here you have the G3 has it on the back, and the point there, of course, is that your finger is back there already for holding the phone. Obviously, you're holding the phone in your hand, so your finger's already there, and it's you can just push it, and you don't need to reach with your thumb.
Now, I wonder if maybe they've had some feedback with people who use their index finger as opposed to their phone or their thumb for most of the phone functions. And because you're holding it, your index finger's right there by the power button. Right. So I wonder if they just kind of assume maybe there's feedback, from a demo group that said, I'd rather have something back there with my index finger. I can see my wife using it the way that she holds her phone. I can see her using that as opposed to the thumb. For me, I think I'm in your camp. I prefer the side, not the front, but the side.
Right. Yeah, that's definitely true. I think it's something you just have to get used to for sure. But in my time using it, I've had it for now 2 or 3 weeks. I still prefer the power button to be on the side. And also keep in mind that since it's on the back, the idea is you don't have to look at it when you push it. So I find a little bit that I'm fumbling around with it when I'm trying to push the power button, and it just is easier for me when it's on the side.
Now, how does that affect, how many times have you just, finger smashed the camera lens? Because I'm wondering how that's going to affect, the quality of your photos if you're, fumbling around back there and maybe you accidentally press on the camera lens. You have a big old fingerprint, maybe a smudge mark on your photos.
Yeah. That's a good question. I haven't done that too much because the lens is up above the power button, and it hasn't been an issue for me.
Okay.
But that definitely is a concern, especially if you are, you might have dirt or whatever on your hands and you're fumbling. It is right there. I mean, it's right above the lens.
They're
is right
about half
above
an inch apart. Yeah, about half an inch apart from each other.
So that could be an issue. And then while we're on the subject of the back of the phone, it has another really unique feature, and that is a laser on the back next to the camera lens. On one side of the lens, you have the flash. On the other side of the lens, you have a laser. And
so we now have phones that are armed.
Well, it's not armed for taking out people, though. It is used for pointing at people and things.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe this was like some kind of a surgical tool, and maybe this was a doctor phone.
I think that's maybe for the next version.
That would be pretty cool. I think there's a lot of doctors who would appreciate a little surgical laser on their phone.
But this laser is for the camera, and the idea is that you can focus just instantly with the laser. So the laser adds it so that just the focus is really fast and really quick, which is true. It can focus faster than any other smartphone.
Now, when you read LG's website, John, they say that this laser can really help if you have an object in motion. You know, we use our cell phones a lot for video and pictures of things that are happening, like we're at our kids' ball games or something like that. And sometimes you get that blurry photo.
Yep.
Professional cameras got that shutter speed to make it happen, but a phone doesn't have that. Regardless of the resolution, doesn't have the other features of a good quality camera. So does the laser really help when something's in motion, if somebody's running and kicking a ball or something like that? Or is it really just kind of a gimmick that doesn't pay off?
The idea is that it does help. Now, I'll admit I haven't had anyone run around the room and test it on them yet. But
that would have been the first thing I asked somebody to do. What other way to get cute people to run around you and take pictures of them, man? Come on.
But that is the point with the laser, is that it will cut out that blur because it's just able to take the photo faster between you pushing, hey, I want to take the photo, and pushing the shutter button, to actually capturing the photo. The idea is that should be just instant, and it's able to do that with the laser.
Now, so you've taken a lot of still shots with it, obviously.
Yes.
And you were telling us earlier that the laser does seem to really help. You can take pictures much faster.
Yes, definitely. And then that's exactly what LG's going for. So it's a pretty cool feature, especially if you use the camera a lot, which the camera is a huge part of the smartphones, and it's one of the most important parts that manufacturers are always looking to one-up each other, is in the camera department. So,
and you know that my wife is a photographer. We bring it up every time we bring in one of these phones. How's the quality of the picture when you take the picture? Taking a fast picture, having it focus fast is fine, but if the quality of the picture stinks, then it's really not worth anything. So what's the quality of these images look like?
Definitely. This is on par with the top smartphones out there. So nothing, it won't blow you away, but it's on par with the S5 or the M8. And some of these, one of them will be better in a lot when you have lots of light. Another will be better in low light. And there are comparisons online where you can see each one of those. I won't go into each one of them, but
sure. And we'll link to it in the Daily Show Prep today, so people will be able to see it.
So that's the thing to look at there, depending on where you usually take your photos. But this is on par with all of those. It takes great photos. A great panorama feature on there. It has nice filters once you take a photo, and you can do the different filters on there to make it kind of a cool look. And it has those built in to the camera, which is standard. It's not something unique to this.
And what about the video quality? Does the laser help with videos as well?
I don't think the laser has anything to do with the video, because it's more just that shutter snapping for the photo. But I'm glad you brought up video, because this can actually shoot 4K video. So we've talked about 4K several times before. It's just a better resolution. Again, coming back to that resolution, just a better resolution. This can shoot 4K video, which more and more of the smartphones are doing, and of course
which is the future standard.
Yes, it is, but it doesn't mean anything right now if you don't have some kind of a 4K display to watch it on. And also, you got to keep in mind that when it's shooting 4K, the file size on the phones are just
going to be massive,
just
absolutely
huge, because it's just more data in there. So it's just a really big file size. But it's cool, especially if you have a 4K TV. That could definitely be a feature that you say, hey, I want to shoot in 4K. I want to see that on my 4K TV.
Now, and this is where things I think are getting kind of interesting with phones, because if you haven't seen a 4K television, for the love of God, go to some place that has one set up. You won't believe the difference. But LG, which is known for their televisions, they make really good 4K televisions, and they have this screen share feature that comes with their television. So if you have an Android device, they have a Miranda or something like that, or Miracast is what it is, and you can actually sync your phone's video. So if you take a 4K video on your phone, maybe your kid's playing, you can send it to the television and watch it in full 4K on the television from your phone. I mean, so there's some really interesting things that are starting to happen with smartphones and pairing them with your television, things like that, to make sharing with people, that much easier. Now, this is the most important laser question, John. This is the biggest part. I turn the lights out. I shine the laser. Can I just have a freaking laser beam showing across the room?
No, sorry. Sorry to disappoint you. The laser is really quick, so you can see it. If you turn the lights out, you can see it flash a little bit. If you're looking, if you're looking at the back of the phone. No, it's not just a laser that shines out there.
Because that would have been really cool. I mean, that would have been neat, to be honest with you. All right, so we got some other features, because this is a really cool phone. It is featured packed, and I think LG kind of took their time. They've been making phones, I mean, for a long time.
Yes.
But I think they've been kind of putting a bunch of things together, and they really just wanted a big launch, and certainly this is fitting with that so far. So we're going to be back with John Hanlon again, talking about the LG G3, their new smartphone. So far, really good camera, laser feature, which is really cool. And we're going to get some of the other unique features about this phone coming up with John Hanlon right here on Newstalk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. Newstalk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I'm your host, Casey Hendrickson, and John Hanlon is joining us in studio. John comes in when he gets a new phone, sent to him courtesy of Verizon. Now, they give you, 2 or 3 weeks to go and review the phone. And
Yep. And then I have to send it back. I don't get to keep it. Everybody always asks me, do you get to keep the phone? But no, I don't get to keep it. These are kind of expensive. So
yeah, it would be nice if they let you keep the things. But, but you go to YouTube and you see like all these reviews and things like that. Those guys, they have to send the stuff back.
Yep.
But you get the technology, go and review for a little bit. So that's how John gets his stuff. And he's got the contract with Verizon. So that's why he's always in here with these new phones. And it's been a little while. I mean, it's been, month or two? Something like that since the last time you came in with the new HTC.
Yeah, release schedules are funny. A lot come out at the beginning of the year, and then you've got a break for the summer, and now they're starting to come out for the holiday season.
Exactly. So we've got the new LG G3 smartphone. Now, LG has been making, I think, the first of capacity, actual decent phone that I had, right, when they started going into the color display, I think it was an LG. And I don't think I've had one since. And I don't think a lot of people own LG phones. They're out there, you know, and they make fine phones, don't get me wrong. They're just never been considered top-tier power smartphone contender. But now with this, they aim to change all of that. So they got some unique features. We talked about the laser, the camera. The power button is on the back, whether that's a thing that might sell you on it or turn you off of it. All depends. It's huge. It's about the size of the first Galaxy Note, which is, of course, the larger version of the Galaxy line from Samsung. So it's a big phone. It looks really nice. It's sleek. It's rounded. It does have a plastic back that kind of looks like a brushed pearl white is the one that you have right now. But what are some of the other features that this thing is packing? We talked about the camera and the video and the new laser, but what's something else it has?
Well, since you mentioned the back, this actually has a removable back, which is something that a lot of smartphones are moving away from, that they're unibody, and so you can't remove the back, which removing the back, it's not just for the purpose of removing the back, but so you can get to the battery and the SD card there. So this has a removable back, and you can swap out the battery, you can swap out the SD card, which a lot of people like if you are a person who is constantly running out of battery and you want to always grab an extra battery. That's definitely going to be a big selling point going here because you can swap it out. And like I said, a lot of them, or I believe the M8 doesn't have that. You can't take the battery off.
Which is annoying, by the way.
Yeah, the HTC One M8. But, a lot of people, they're not faced with a need to do that. So it's not a huge issue for everybody. But for a certain crowd, that definitely is a selling point there. So you can take the battery off the G3 here. It has some cool features on the screen. If you just when the screen is off, the phone is on, but the screen is off, you can just double tap, and it pops up with the unlock screen, which is really cool. And actually, it can even go a step further than that. And if you have a lock, if your phone is locked, if you have a lock code set on it, the lock code can be what they call, I think double tap is what they call it, and you can actually just tap on the screen with the screen off and tap in the code without the screen ever turning on. So that's pretty cool. It's just a way to get into it a little quicker, always looking for the fastest way. And I really like that double tap feature. I don't usually have a lock on my phone, but just being able to pull it out and do the double tap and being able to unlock the phone that way is really nice to have. And then once you get into the phone, they have some customization features that I haven't seen on any other device. So anybody with an Android phone is familiar with the bar of buttons at the bottom with the back, the home, the menu. And with this phone, you can actually customize those. So you can add up to 5 of them. And you can even go beyond back, home, and menu. You can make one where the notification bar pulls down. You can make one that when you push it, it shows all the different windows you have open. And you can customize those. And like I said, you can add up to 5 of them, or you can take them away. You can set them up however you want, which is really cool and a nice customization feature that I think is one of those things that once you set it up, you don't really notice it, but it's really nice to have. If you're always finding yourself wanting to do this or that, then you can just set a button at the bottom of the phone and it's always there.
And then right above it, it looked like you had kind of like a speed launch taskbar, which is separate from your normal icons on your screen. So you have kind of like your phone's functions, and then you have your apps, and which you can get to settings and other functions as well.
Yep.
So you really have almost 2 rows of quick access to whatever you use, which is really nice, because I think a lot of us use probably 5 or 6 things on the phone consistently on a regular basis. Right. But, sometimes you're like one little, notch short. And then that one's the one you got to go look for, or it's up in the top, and it's just a little different. So you've got like two rows here where you can have everything you use on a regular basis just right there at your fingertips. Now, we did talk about the battery. I want to go back to the battery just for a second because I did forget to ask this. What's the battery life like on this thing? Because a lot of those phones that are now closing it, not allowing you to swap out the batteries, the reason they're justifying that is, you don't have to worry about it. This thing will last for like 40 days and 40 nights. So, I mean, how is the battery life on this? Have they just, left the back removable because the battery life isn't that good?
I would say the battery life is about on par, maybe slightly below par for smartphones of, again, we come back to the S5 or the M8. With that giant screen, of course, 5.5-inch QHD screen, it's using up a lot of power.
Sure.
They've got a big battery in there, but I still think it's about average. So nothing amazing again on the battery life. It's just about average. It should get you through the day. Just fine.
But you have the option of going in the third-party market and getting a much more powerful battery in the same size and swapping it out, which you don't have in a lot of the other phones now.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really nice. And if you find yourself running out of battery, that's a big selling feature here.
That's me. All right. So what else do we have on this phone, man?
Well, it's got something pretty cool for the front-facing camera. So if you are a constant selfie-taking person, which I hope there are none of you out there, but if you find yourself taking a lot of selfies, it's got something kind of cool, and that is if you hold up your hand and then make a fist with it. Just so when you're holding the phone ready to take a selfie and you hold up your hand, make a fist, it will put a timer on the screen, so it'll count you down from 3, and then it'll take the photo.
Wait, so it's a non-physical gesture?
Yes.
You just make a fist with your hand.
Yes, and it'll put a countdown on the screen. Yeah, it'll put a countdown on the screen, cool. And then take the photo. It'll count you down from 3 and take the photo. So you don't even have to touch the phone for taking a selfie.
So when we start seeing a bunch of selfie pictures out there where people have a fist in their, we know what phone they have.
Yeah. Though the fist isn't actually, since it counts you down, then you can get your hand out of the way.
John. People will screw up.
If you forget to remove it, then they might. But that's pretty cool if you find yourself, if you're a person who likes to take a lot of selfies.
This is the perfect phone for all of you mixed martial artists out there. That's perfect. You can just go ahead and make your normal your fists like you're doing your show and everything. You'll have the shot.
Yeah, and if your hands are dirty or whatever, you can just take it completely without even having to touch the phone. And going back real quickly to the back, speaking of the camera again, if you hold down the volume down button on the back, which again is on the back of the phone underneath the camera lens and the power button, it actually opens right up to the camera. So that's kind of cool. You can
just a long press.
Yes, just long press on the volume down button, and it opens the camera right up. So that's very handy. That's something when I was using it, I use that all the time. Anytime I wanted to take a photo, you don't even need to unlock the phone.
Now that's where that index finger thing seems like it might be kind of smart, because you're holding the phone up out like, and I know none of you can see this, but for John's benefit, I'm making the motion. You're holding it up like this. And, sometimes doing your thumb around there, if you don't have big hands, can be a problem, especially since it's a big phone. So now you can just long press, and you can still hold on to it with the other 4 fingers without any problem. So maybe the volume buttons, if not the power, the volume buttons being on the back because of the shortcut to the camera, that might be a good move on their part. Because selfies are really popular right now, in spite of the fact that 98% of you look stupid doing it.
I would agree with that. Yeah, that's really cool. So if you're wanting to take a selfie, for example, you can take it completely between the fist move and the volume button thing. You can take it without ever touching the screen of the phone.
That's awesome. Anything else that we've missed on this thing so far?
It's a solid phone. Like I said, no since everything's on the back, no buttons on the edges, which again I think is a really cool, is a nice idea. You lose the power button on the side, but it was really handy not to have all of those buttons on the edges, because you don't ever have to worry about bumping them. Again, going back to photos, when you're taking a photo, I know I have the Galaxy S4, And when I'm taking a photo, I'm constantly bumping the volume button or accidentally shutting the screen off with the power button on the side. And with the LG G3, you never need to worry about that because all the controls are on the back.
The engineering and the design of this, to give you guys kind of a perspective here, usually when you have the buttons on the side, sorry, I got to get my fingerprints on the thing.
Oh, no problem.
Usually when you have the buttons on the side or even, on the back or the front, usually the buttons stick out just a couple of millimeters, so there's not a seamless design to the body of the phone. This thing, everything on it is flush. The buttons on the back are perfectly flush with the back plating. Everything's recessed just enough that you don't have anything sticking out whatsoever. So it is really smooth. It's designed very well. The fitment of this is very high quality. I mean, none of the volume buttons at all, the camera lens, the power button, none of it sticks out from the rest of the phone any amount at all. I mean, it's designed and engineered really well. So if you're one of those people that likes a really clean, smooth design and you don't want a chunky button anywhere on the phone, this might very well be a phone for you to take a look at because it does look very, very nice. It's a nice looking phone.
Yeah, and staying in that same idea, on the front, some people have noted that there's pretty much no bezel between the screen and the edge of the phone. So it's basically like the screen is the display is the front of the phone. There's between the border there is practically non-existent.
If you like minimalist, clean design, this is a great option for you.
Yeah,
I mean, definitely. It looks very pretty. So how can people get it, man?
It's available on all the major carriers. It's only $100 on Verizon, which is actually a great price. Usually, most of the top smartphones are at this point in their release are usually a little bit more expensive than that, and similar prices on other networks. And real quickly to touch on the technical aspect of it, it's actually got a quad-core processor in there, so plenty of speed to back up that big old screen and should keep you going.
That's right. So the new Facebook Messenger app can get all of your personal information to Facebook that much faster. I don't know. I keep getting the update like, oh, you want to update it? I don't think so. Not yet. But John, we do appreciate it, buddy. And again, $100 on Verizon right now. I don't know what the price is on the other carriers,
it's pretty similar.
Is it similar? Which is cheap because usually it's $200 or $150 for the first few months that it's out. Then it'll drop down.
Right.
So I mean, this very powerful phone for the price. Again, you can swap out the battery, which a lot of people are looking for in some of the newer phones because they're starting to close them up like Apple does. Which is again, it's annoying because I always run out of battery life. People are always getting mad they can't get a hold of me. But again, everybody's blowing my phone up all day. So very cool. The LG G3. We'll link to all of this, and of course, we'll link to jhanlon.net.
Yep.
In the daily show prep today, if you want to get a hold of John, we do appreciate it, buddy. It's good seeing you again.
Yep, good to be in here, Casey.
Right. We got more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.